So in the last lecture, Martin, we talked about cultural differences and how they can be problematic. What's another one that can cause some problems?
Well, I did say before that attitudes are changing for the better, but there's still this, let's say, cultural arrogance that English is the business language of the world, so the onus is on foreigners to learn better English, and it's not on the foreigners to explain better.
What are some of the bigger problems?
As I said before, it's a question of self-awareness, that you don't realize that there's a problem. You're thinking, I don't know why these foreigners don't understand me because I'm a native speaker, when in fact there are very many reasons why they wouldn't understand you, which you don't understand or you don't realize is happening. So I think, to be fair to native speakers, though, it might not be obvious straight away that there is a communication problem, because you have what's called the power gap. You know, that famous book by Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah, Outliers. I was just thinking about that. That was he had a very interesting story where I think it was a Korean airplane that was going to fly into a mountain. And it was because the co-pilot couldn't or wouldn't tell his captain that they were going to crash. So you're going to crash into this mountain, and I don't know why the captain didn't know, but he didn't. So the person didn't tell him, like, Captain, you're aimed for a mountain.
Yep, you don't criticize your boss because there's this hierarchical structure, and whatever your boss says, it goes. And bad luck if he drives you into a mountain.
Right. I think, too, like, arrogance in Canadian culture is a very bad thing. And it tends to be, of course, we look at people in the United States and we say, wow, there's the example of arrogance. But really, that's the exaggerated example of arrogance, right? Because we all know stories of Americans going in places and, making fools of themselves because they're arrogant. But as you were talking, it occurred to me that there is a secondary arrogance or another level of arrogance that is, let me say, not expressed, okay? And that is, and actually you and I experienced that because, as you said, you spent the last 13 years in Turkey, and we've met because I spent a month on the south coast of Turkey, which was not that far away, and I was blessed that you were able to, and your wife and child were able to come down and visit me. And so I'm staying in a little village that I don't know if there's 500 people living there. Like, it was very small on the coast. There's only like 2 roads, right? So, and I'm staying in this home on the side of the mountain. And where I am, there are 2 beaches. You leave, you go down, there's a fork, there's 2 beaches, right? And of course, there's only like 1 road in and 1 road out. And so I said, okay, so when you come, just go to the right and to the beach on the right, and I'm going to be there. And I'm thinking, you've lived 13 years in Turkey, so you should know this, right? Of course, you've never been there before. And you get into town and you ask, where's the beach? And they send you 2 miles down the road in totally the wrong direction. So I sit for an hour on my beach waiting for you. You sit for an hour on your beach. And finally, we meet. And I was thinking about that and how I didn't mean to be. I was either ignorant or arrogant, however you want to put it, right? But I was really pretty arrogant when you think about it. I thought, well, I'll just tell him, like, I didn't think that I needed to tell you more details. But when I think about it, I thought, I was just, come here and how can you miss me?
Yeah. It's the word, the beach, because the beach is your beach because it's by your house, and you must know where the beach is because it's by my house. But to somebody who took the left fork in the road, the beach is the one which is 3 miles down the coast,
and it's on the right.
Yes.
Yep. So I was thinking about that when we've been talking about this course for a while, and I thought, wow, there's, you and I spoke and sent emails back and forth, and we both thought we were right on the same path, and we were about as far away as you could have been in terms, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that it was that small that you could ask, and I'm not even sure how you knew the name of the person where I was staying. You could ask her name, and they all know everybody. So then they said, oh, yeah, she's just over there. Here's her phone number. And then you called her, and then she found me. Because when I came back, she was like, your friend's waiting for you. And I go, oh, well, I've been waiting for him. And then, and of course, I had to ask 3 times where you were, because I thought, I made the mistake once. Right?
Yes.
I'm just assuming that when I was giving the information, so we'll make sure, are you on the right side of the street, the left side of the street? Where are you in relation to the mosque? And
this is the good. I mean, it's like everything's different. That's the advantage of a small village where everybody knows everybody else. They're very helpful. I mean, lots of people stopped, to help us with directions and things, and that wouldn't happen in Vancouver, would it? You'd be standing by the side of the road looking for the beach. So that's the thing. Everything's different, and that's also something I think we have to remember whenever we deal with people from other countries. There's always a downside and there's always an upside. And yes, you can say, oh, they don't understand my English or they don't understand my culture. But then at the same time, it's very interesting about their culture. Maybe if you learn something about them, then you can find out more about yourself through the prism of somebody else's culture. And I think that's what happened to you.
Absolutely. And like you were talking before about self-awareness, it's like, okay, now I'm more aware of something that I never thought of really before, right? It's like, oh, okay, now I need to be more aware of this.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I think we're going to move on to accents now, because I have a very interesting story connected to this power gap where people can't tell their boss what's happening, and combining this power gap with the problem with accents can actually make very big problems for a company.
Awesome. That's our next lecture, accents, coming right up.
Okay.